Hi, my name is Franzi, and I'm addicted to books. Hi, I'm Franzi, and I decided to finally start uploading videos about books after years of wanting to do that. On my main channel, I kinda did talk about one book in the very beginning of my channel, but I didn't even finish the book, so these videos are privated and never to be seen ever again. But now, after a year of actually reading books again, I decided that I wanted to start this. So in my first video, I decided that I wanted to talk about my favorite books I read in 2017, and there have been quite a few that I will reread and quote and reread again, because they're just so good! I love them so much. The order of this list won't say anything about whether I liked a book more than the other or not, because I can't pick favorites among my children. But without further ado, let's get to my list. So the first book on this list was actually a book I had to read for university, but I loved it so much. And I was pretty sure that I already read it in high school, but when I read it again, I realized that I didn't remember anything. Like, none of the details. And maybe you'll think you know the story, but you should definitely read the book, it's so good. It's Frankenstein by Mary Shelley, and I just love it. I really want to read the first version of this book, but this is like the normal, popular, I think 1831 version of the book, and I already loved it. It wasn't a quick read, and it wasn't an easy read for me personally, mainly because of the descriptions of like scenery and nature, and I also had a lot of thoughts on this book, so I took a lot of notes in my reading journal. Yeah, I just loved it, and it's one of my all-time favorites now. I got this next book for free at Summer in the City, and it's called Nina is Not Okay by Shappi Khorsandi. The protagonist in this book deals with addiction and sexual assault, and also her sexuality. The character is really witty, and it's just fun to read until you get to the really hard parts where you just want to cry all the time. I would recommend it, but like, content warning, sexual assault. If it's a trigger for you, you should be kind of careful when reading this. The third book on my list is, of course, The Handmaid's Tale by Margaret Atwood. 2017 was the perfect year to read this book, if you want an existential crisis. This book had been on my reading list for a while now, but when I saw that they released a TV show, I really wanted to read it ASAP, so I did. But then the TV show wasn't available on any streaming services I pay for, so I haven't seen it yet. If you don't know this book, it's a dystopian novel about a society where women actually don't have any rights anymore and are just there to make babies. If you're a person who cares about agency over their own body, this is an actual nightmare. This is especially scary if you look at the government, the current government in America, where a bunch of old white dudes decide over what women are allowed to do with their bodies. I just loved the whole concept of it and the way the story was built. The narrator and the characters. There were a lot of characters you would recognize in your own life. Some of them are really stereotypical, but not in a, like, negative way. It's like in a comprehensive way, in a relatable way. There's a switch in the narration style in the ending, and the stuff you learn in there just makes all of it even worse. I won't spoil it, but it's so bad. It's so sad. The worst scenes in this were the ceremony scenes, and if you have read this book, you'll know what I mean. It's so bad. The fourth book on my list is Hunger by Roxane Gay. The topics in this, I can't relate to most of them, but they're so interesting, and I love reading books that open up your own mind to concepts and perspectives that you just don't have. It was really eye-opening and made me think about some of my own behaviors and things I've said. In this memoir, Roxane Gay describes what it's like to live as a survivor of sexual assault and also as a queer, black, obese woman in America. There's one chapter where there's a really graphic description of sexual assault, so again, if you're triggered by it, please be careful. I read most of this book on the train on my commute, I think, to the theater. I'm neither gonna deny or confirm that I cried on the train in public while reading this, but it can be very emotional. Sometimes the writing style seems a little bit detached from what's happening, but I kind of feel like it was necessary to write about these topics that are discussed in here. I just feel like a lot of people should read this and then re-examine the way they think about certain body types that are not skinny and trained and fit, and you never know what happened to a person or what's happening to a person or why a person looks or acts the way they do, and just be a little bit more compassionate. The last book on my list and the last book I read in 2017 is Born a Crime by Trevor Noah. Before I read this, I already loved Trevor Noah on The Daily Show, but after reading this, I mostly picked this up because it is a description of his childhood as a mixed child during apartheid, where when he was born, it was illegal for a white man and a black woman, or a black man and a white woman, to have children or any sexual contact. What? This was a really interesting perspective, as I'm mixed too, but I live in Germany and I wasn't born during a time where it was illegal to have me. And I also loved reading a book by a mixed person because we don't actually really have a community, and in this book he also describes being an outsider, and I could relate to that. I couldn't relate to a lot of things he described in this book and the things he went through in his childhood, just because of the circumstances he was born into. The writing style is just as funny as he is, but it's also really emotional, and that's probably because comedy and tragedy are really close together, and the way he described some of the more emotional parts just made me want to cry all day long. Before every chapter, there's kind of an introduction to the historical events he refers to in the chapters and that are important to understand the circumstances. And that was really interesting because I didn't really know a lot about apartheid and the politics of it. I knew that it was there, I knew that it was racist, and that was it. This is one of those books I just wanna pick up and read again, and then just read sections of it and quote it and whatever. Recommend it to all of my friends. I probably already did. Like, I meet people in university in my lectures and I'm like, have you read Born a Crime by Trevor Noah? They're like, who are you? Don't talk to me. I love this so much. And that's it for my favorite books I read in 2017. In the comments below, tell me what your favorite books of 2017 were, and also tell me if you have read any of the books I mentioned in this video and what you thought. Did you like them or did you hate them? All of the links to my social media and my other channels are in the description box below. And subscribe to this channel if you want to see more videos like this. I hope you're having a wonderful day, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye!